Hey guys, Ducks hockey and more back at you with another video. We're talking Anaheim Ducks, baby. It is February 26th, Sunday. They've got a game tomorrow, but I wanted to talk about their current status, an update, just where they're at right now, current state of the team, if you will. Stick around. Okay, hey guys, welcome back. So for Ducks fans and all NHL hockey fans, this one's about the Anaheim Ducks. It's Sunday, February 26th, okay? The Ducks' current state, if you will, is still dismal, but they just completed a 4-game road trip back east. They played the likes of Tampa Capitals, the Capitals, Carolina, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Florida Panthers, Lightning. So Florida, Carolina, and then Washington. So there you go. Listen, so they came back out of a possible, in those 4 games, possible 8 points. They came back with 5 points. So for the Anaheim Ducks, the season they've been having, that's a really good road trip. They lost in overtime to the Florida Panthers. They got embarrassed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then they beat the Capitals and beat the Carolina Hurricanes. Although the Carolina game, quite honestly, should have gone Carolina's way. That was the Gibby show. John Gibson stole another one for the Ducks in that one. But nevertheless, they won the game. So, listen, good for the Ducks, right? It shows that they have... as bad as they are, it shows that they're still trying to go out there and win games. There are those games like the Tampa game where... as a Ducks fan, you watch it and you're just like, dude, how embarrassing. They were basically, routed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Even Corey Perry scored on us even in a sweet little play. But that was an embarrassing game for sure. The other 3, they looked pretty good, especially John Gibson. Defense, obviously, we're getting outshot horribly every game. Gibson is having to stand on his head, or in this case, Lucas Dostal as well as the backup. They have to stand on their head. They're facing so many shots that that's why the Ducks are so bad. They really are. Offensively, structurally, they have their moments, and they have a lot of potential, but it's the defense that is just killing it right now. They're allowing way too many shots. These goaltenders can't handle it. I mean, Gibson's been doing amazing. He's really making a case for himself, quite honestly, if there's a trade looming for him. But defensively, I just don't understand it. I really don't understand. I blame it not on the players. I mean, you could probably put a little bit on the players, but most of this is Dallas Eakins, the coaching. Okay, specifically Eakins. And I don't know who's in charge in that. Newell Brown and Craig Johnson, I don't know which one is primarily focuses on the defensive side of the game and how they want them to play. Structurally and that kind of thing. I really don't. But I'll tell you, man, Dallas Eakins is a giant piece of shit. That guy's got to go, and he will. He won't be back next year. But he's the biggest reason that, in my opinion, the Ducks look so bad this year and why the defense is so bad. I mean, it's just horrible. But again, outshot horribly, that's not a good thing. And it hasn't changed. You'd think they'd try to figure that out and limit those shots and do everything they can to turn that around, kind of like they did with penalty killing. The penalty killing was atrocious to start the year. Well, now the penalty killing for the Anaheim Ducks is really good. They're actually killing most penalties off. So that they switched around, that they made improvements on. The power play still struggles, and the shots allowed is horrible. We have very porous defense, and they don't win the battles. And shots get through them. I don't know. I don't understand it. They just get through them. The funny part is that you'll see some of the stats and it'll be, okay, the Ducks were outshot, some 40 some odd shots to something. But they end up blocking 10 to 15 shots throughout the game, right? Well, those are blocked shots. Great. Good job. But if they let those through, you know what I mean? It's that you see what I'm talking about. I just don't get it. Way too much gets to those goaltenders and they're having to make saves. It's insane. So that's probably your biggest reason why the Ducks are so bad this year, right there. But Their record as of right now, going into Monday's game against Chicago back at home, their current record is 19-34-7. That 34 is really tough to look at, man. But 19-34-7, they're dead last in the Western Conference, and they're second to last in the league. Columbus being the dead last team, but only by 2 points. So if you're looking at the draft coming up and the Connor Bedard sweepstakes, Ducks are poised and in a good spot. You know what I mean? They really are. Now, look, Ducks fans, Connor Bedard, as great of a player as he is, chances are the Ducks aren't going to get him, okay? Because the chances are the Ducks aren't going to get that number 1 overall pick. I hope they do. I really do, only because that would be an amazing, amazing player to add to our already amazing young core. But chances are it's not going to happen. I would be okay with a 2nd or 3rd pick overall. I really would. Look who we got in the 3rd pick overall, Mason McTavish, a couple years ago, right? So, Adam Fantilli, great guy. I mean, the Ducks could easily land him. There's a lot, okay, when you look at it. And I should do a whole video about this year's draft class and who could potentially fit in with the Ducks pretty well. But it doesn't matter. I think the Ducks are going to get a 4th. They're going to be in the top 5 as far as picks go. Hopefully at least top 3. No matter what, they're going to get a really, really good player. They really are. Even though everybody wants the Connor Bedard, doesn't matter if they don't get him. They're still going to get a very good player in this year's draft. So that being said, the Ducks are coming home. And I'm just going to go through my notes here. Pardon me. They're coming home for a few games. Chicago on Monday. So hopefully they can maybe figure it out for Ducks fans who are going to those games. It's never fun to go to those games and watch them lose. So hopefully they can get some wins. I know they've got the Capitals coming back. They just played the Capitals, and then they're going to be playing them again in this small little homestand. But listen, let's just talk strictly. Look, there's a week to go. Trade deadline next Friday, okay? Pat Verbeek hasn't done anything yet. That's concerning, right? A little bit. Nothing's happened yet. Other than that Slavin deal with Chicago. The Hunter Drew Slavin swap, big deal, okay? Who cares? Okay, that's just depth garbage. Our big UFAs and the big names on the Ducks haven't moved. Nothing. I'm a little concerned. Now, I have a feeling Verbeek's got a lot going on. Here's the biggest concern, okay? It's not that they're not going to move him. He'll move him. Klingberg, Kulikov, Shattenkirk, I guarantee you. I mean, I don't want to say guarantee because then I'll look like a fool if he doesn't do it. But they are highly, highly likely to be gone, okay? Those 3 alone right there. And then it's kind of a crapshoot from there on who gets moved. But the Klingberg experiment obviously is a flop. He's been playing better. He's getting some points. The same can be said for Kevin Shattenkirk. He's had a couple goals recently. He's starting to produce offensively like he did last year. So that's definitely good when you look at trade value. But for leading up into this, a lot of the talk around surrounding the Anaheim Ducks and our UFAs and who's moving, trade targets, that kind of thing, is that the first rounders that especially we wanted for John Klingberg aren't as likely and it's probably not going to happen. Okay, Klingberg really just kind of a flop. His defense is horrible. That guy's defensive skills are shit, dude. Okay, absolute shit. His offensive skills, he's shown that he can do very well. He's a good puck-moving guy, and he can create plays and that kind of thing. And we've seen it a little bit, right? Ducks fans, you know. But not to the level that we needed. And I know that Pat Verbeek looked at him and said, hey, I'm going to sign you to $7 million, and we're probably going to flip you and, get at least a first rounder for you, right? Well, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen now. Klingberg isn't worth a first rounder to most teams. Here's what I think will probably happen if we're going to get a first rounder. It's going to have to be a multiplayer deal. Send Klingberg and another player, either 2 defenders or an offenseman and a Klingberg to a team to get a first rounder in return. I think that's the only way we can get a first rounder out of any of this. leading into the next Friday. I really don't see it happening. Shattenkirk isn't worth a first rounder. Kulikov certainly isn't worth a first rounder. Adam Henrique possibly is worth a first rounder. He's injured right now. He had a lower body injury, injured his leg, I believe. So that doesn't help. But with the way he's been playing and his experience and as a depth signing for a playoff-bound team, I think he would garner a first rounder in return as long as the Ducks retain, a portion of his salary, or something, or their third team gets involved. But you know what I mean? That may be something we see. But who knows? Who really knows? Okay, Verbeek's has a lot to do in the next week. We've got too many UFAs to not pull the trigger and get something. So I have a feeling we're already loaded on second rounders this coming draft. I think we have like 3. I think we're going to get a whole bunch more. I really do. Because you've got guys like Klingberg, Shattenkirk, Kulikov, just those top 3 alone that really aren't worth much other than a second rounder, third rounder, or something like that. So we'll see what happens as we get closer and closer. We've only got the week left. But I don't know. I think we're going to have to package some players together if we're going to try and get a first rounder in return. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Comment below and tell me what you think. Here's another thing about the Ducks, then I'll wrap it up. John Gibson. John Gibson obviously is making a case for himself. There's been a lot of talk about him and the Anaheim Ducks and John Gibson saying, "Hey, look, let's part ways. Let's get you on a team where you can actually win and potentially go after a cup." I know John Gibson deserves it, and there's been a lot of talk about that potentially happening. Is it going to happen in the next week, or is it going to happen in the offseason? Because we've got John Gibson under contract for, I think, like 4 more years. So it's not like it has to happen right now. But that's heated up. There's some teams that I've heard involved with Gibson, LA being one of them. Don't want to see that happen. But Gibson in LA, more than likely, you're going to see like Gibson maybe go to Buffalo. I think Buffalo would definitely benefit from having a John Gibson as they try to become more of a playoff contending team year after year. In fact, I think Buffalo's going to make the playoffs this year. I really do. If they keep it up, and adding Gibson would probably give them really good chance to make some noise. The other team that's interested in Gibson, and I think it makes perfect sense, are the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I don't think the Penguins are going to make the playoffs. They're currently sitting in that wild card spot. I don't know that they're going to hold on to that. I think they're going to lose that spot and then not make the playoffs. I really do. But their goaltending situation is kind of and Gibson going home to his hometown of Pittsburgh, that would be quite the ending for John Gibson and his career. The issue really becomes, though, is Pittsburgh moving forward after this year, even potentially even going to make a case for the Cup year after year. I don't know, guys. I mean, Crosby and Malkin aren't getting any younger, so Pittsburgh's going to have to figure some things out if that's going to be the case. So for John Gibson, to me, the best fit for him is Buffalo. That puts him pretty close to his hometown. And they're a young team that is looking pretty good and consistently looks like they're going to be a playoff contender year after year. So Gibson would just make that even better for them and make that a reality for Buffalo. And so maybe that's where he goes. But long story short, Gibson's name is now pretty much kind of, he wants to go. The Ducks organization is like, okay, you know what I mean? So they're going to find a home for him, I think. But the question really becomes when? When will this happen? Is it going to happen in this next week? That is yet to be seen. Now, if you're talking first rounders and you're talking about a big haul or a pretty big haul, Gibson will get you that for you, okay? He is a damn good goaltender. So first rounder, selection, all that stuff, Gibson will get you what you want in that case. And I think maybe a goalie for a goalie and a first rounder type of deal would be ideal for the Ducks and for a team like the Buffalo Sabres. So anyways, there you go. Anaheim Ducks. Been playing better as of late. They've got a few games at home here, and then they hit the road again, and then they've got a really long homestand in March. which will be nice. Maybe they can put together some wins. But long story short, the Anaheim Ducks still look like crap. Overall, they're second to last in the NHL. Definitely poised to get a high draft pick this year, so that's good, right? And really, the big news for the Ducks is this next week. What's going to happen in the week leading up to the trade deadline this coming Friday? What's Verbeek going to do? Who's on the move? Who are we going to see coming in return? Is it just going to be a bunch of picks and prospects, or even like AHL type? Who knows? We'll see what happens, because like I said, a lot of these players that we've got that are going to be unrestricted free agents and expiring contracts haven't really shown us much. So their value isn't really what we were hoping they would be. So that's kind of been a bummer. But let's see what happens, Ducks fans. Stick to your NHL app, the news, whatever the case, or me, because I will report on it when I hear about it. So, but yeah, Anaheim Ducks. As always, go Ducks. As always, smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I want to blow it up, okay? If you haven't subscribed, do it now, okay? Get on board. Ducks hockey and more, right? Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you on the next one. See ya.